Good morning. Is anybody around?
Good morning, ma'am. Welcome to the session.
Hi dear, good morning.
We'll start the session sharply by 10 o'clock, ma'am.
All right, all right. No, I just wanted to look into
Check.
the access and everything.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
how do I share my screen?
We'll give the privileges, ma'am. Once the
All right.
opening remarks is completed, I'll assign you as a presenter so that you can share. Would you like to just check now? I can give now
Yeah,
also.
yeah. I wanted to check it before, so that it's fine and it runs smoothly after some time.
Yeah, I just assigned the privileges. Just check, ma'am. You'll
Hmm.
in the meeting you will get a option share.
Yeah, I got share content. All right. So, are you able to see the screen now?
It's not at, ma'am.
Now?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay, 1 second. I'll just go back. Is it fine now?
Uh, it's not sharing, ma'am.
Oh my God, 1 second.
Seems like you're logged in mobile.
No, it's my tab.
Oh, fine. Oh, fine. Uh, then one more time you try, ma'am. Unshare and share again, and you have to check the entire screen. If you select the entire screen, then whatever tabs you will be changing, now that will be visible to us.
Okay.
Any possibility, ma'am?
You're not able to see the screen yet?
No, no.
Oh my God, 1 second. I will check again. I will try to re-log in. Is it possible?
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, I will just try to.
Yeah. I just assigned the privileges, ma'am. Presenter.
Oh,
You
all
try.
right. I guess it's coming now, right?
Yes, ma'am, it's sharing. Yeah, we could able to see your screen. Correct.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Perfectly. Perfect.
Okay. What's your good name, please?
Krishnaveni.
Krishna. Okay. Miss Krishna,
Yeah.
can you just help me with are you able to see the blank screen now?
Yes, it
And
is blank now. Yes.
I'm writing something. It's
Yeah, yeah.
visible, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so we're ready to go.
Yeah, sure.
So it will take how much time? 30 minutes from now, right? Because I'm in Muscat. It's 3 a.m. now.
Oh, 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 oh.
So it
Yes,
will
exactly 30
20
minutes.
exactly 30. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So I will join back in 15, 20 minutes. Is it fine?
Yes, fine, ma'am. Definitely.
Or I can just keep this on.
Yeah, you can keep it on. Whenever
Mm-hmm.
session started, you can start sharing again and you can continue the session. Your wish, ma'am. Anyways, is possible.
All right, all right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for your assistance, Miss Krishna.
Thank you, ma'am. You're welcome.
Hi, Miss Krishna. Are you available?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Just a few seconds, waiting for a few more participants to join.
All right.
Couple of seconds will start, ma'am. Like less
All
than a
right.
minute will
No
start.
worries. All right. All right.
Respected dignitaries, esteemed personalities, outstanding guests, professors, faculty, and the students from various engineering colleges as well as the KLEF. Warm welcome to everyone. Good morning, one and all. It's an immense pleasure to welcome you all for this 1 week faculty development program on recent trends and in embedded systems and Internet of Things. I am Krishnaveni, Assistant Professor from Department of ECS, KLEF. Feel proud to invite you all for this program. In continuation, we planned one more FDP on advances in machine learning for the next week. We look forward to have the aim and scope of this FTP for the advent Internet of Things and where it has an immense growth in VLSI embedded systems market due to the speedy development of the connected devices. IoT and AI is one of the thirst areas of academics and Industry 4.0. This FDP recent trends in embedded systems and Internet of Things aimed to give a hands-on training to the faculty as well as the PG students and the scholars in various aspects of IoT, VLSI, and embedded systems. We planned to comprise a series of technical presentations and a video demonstration of VLSI embedded system design experiments where it will be using a Zinc and Z boards and other relevant IoT support technologies for deploying IoT and embedded applications. So to involve more and more towards the IoT, today we invited the resource person where she is having a good expertization in IoT platform, none other than Dr. Shaba Syed Nazirullah. She is currently working as a faculty for University of Technology and Applied Sciences, Muscat, Sultanate of Oman. She completed his undergraduation from JNTUH in Electronics and Communication Engineering. She completed his post-graduation in Digital Systems and Computer Electronics from JNTUH. Madam has completed his doctorate of philosophy from Digital Image Processing from the University Sri Jagadish Prasad Chabarlal University. She has a good experience as an assistant professor in Shadan Women's College of Engineering and Technology. She has published a good number of articles in IEEE journals, conferences, and more towards the research interest areas includes Internet of Things, image processing, and intelligent transport systems. We are very glad and pleasure, ma'am, to invite you for this today's FTP session. Today we are on 5th day of FTP. We invite you to associate the today's session, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Krishna. Good morning, everyone. Well, I would also like to thank the KL University for giving me this privilege of sharing my expertise on your FDP today. Okay, so Miss Krishna, do I have the access now to share my screen?
Yeah, you can, ma'am. You are presenter now.
Okay. I hope I'm clear.
Yeah, you're clear. Yes, you're audible.
Okay.
Yes, yes, ma'am. It's content is sharing.
All right.
All right, ma'am.
So today I would like to bring about the latest trends in Internet of Things as well as the OTT, which is again a subset of IoT, over the top applications basically. Okay, so this pandemic has affected and accelerated almost everything. Like it's been a year of unprecedented disruption, and the law of nature, that is change, basically has come to a close. And we have ahead an exciting 2022, which inshallah we are thinking that life will presumably get back to something like normal, and where we have long pent up economic energies will burst forth to drive the expansion forward. Okay, now coming to technical front, this IoT is continuing to emerge as a transformative influence in how we are actually living. And it's playing a major role in restoring orders after, pandemic-induced chaos. And inshallah, it will also help and welcome customers and employees back to office and enable new smart initiatives, hopefully. Okay. So before I proceed with my presentation, I would come up with a disclaimer. Whatever is being shared in this presentation is for education purpose only, okay? And the materials provided in this presentation and any comments or information by me are just for education purpose, and nothing conveyed or provided should be considered legal, okay? And as more definitive information becomes available, definitely we will bring it up to you, all right? Now, to begin with, um, anyone who says like, the internet is it has basically fundamentally changed the society may be right, but at the same time, the greatest transformation actually still lies ahead of us. We have several new technologies which are, converging in a way that means that internet is just on the brink of substantial expansion as objects, large or small, being connected and assuming their own web identity. All right. Now, from the Internet of Computers, when before, like we had our servers, personal computers being connected to global network, okay, and this internet is also something connected to your mobile telephones, okay, and when it was the turn of your telephones and other mobile units, the next phase of development is actually IoT, that is Internet of Things, okay, when you have more or less anything which is being connected and managed, that is by the virtual world. So this revolution, I would call it as a revolution because it's the net's largest or enlargement ever. Okay, and it has some sweeping effects on every industries, almost on all of our daily lives. We have smart connectivity with existing networks. We have context-aware computation using network resources, which is, I can say, indispensable part of our IoT. Okay, so in today's presentation, we will see the history of IoT. I will bring about what is actual IoT with regards to its architecture, okay, features, applications, benefits, and the future of IoT, which includes the latest trends that have been set, okay? And the most interesting part of today's presentation is OTT, which is over the top again, which is actually a subset of IoT. Okay, and we will discuss about the infrastructure and challenges, and finally conclude the topic. Okay, so before we start, to bring about the smart connectivity with our existing networks, and like I told you about the context-aware computation using network resources. Now we have the presence of Wi-Fi and our what is that? It's Wi-Fi and our 4G LTE. Okay, with the wireless internet access. Now, the evolution towards information and communication networks, it's pretty evident. And we have IoT vision to, which is successfully emerging in like almost with all of applications. Right. So when we have this IoT, which is like considered to be a computing paradigm, which is going beyond your traditional mobile computing scenarios that are using your smartphones, your portables, almost, which is connecting every day, whatever you're using, existing objects, basically, with regards to your embedding intelligence to the environment. Okay, so for the technology to disappear from the I can say consciousness of the user, the Internet of Things, that's IoT, it demands basically sharing the understanding of the situation of the users and their applications. Okay, now we have software architectures, okay, and some networks which are processing and conveying the contextual information which is relevant, with some analytic tools in IoT that are aiming for smart behavior. Okay, I can say autonomous and smart behavior. So for this, you will have the fundamental grounds in place, yani smart connectivity, context-aware computation, with that can be accomplished. Okay, so we have seen a radical evolution of the internet into a network of interconnected objects, which will not only harvest some information from the environment by sensing, but also can interact with the physical world. Now, when I'm saying physical world, you have three controls, three commands that you have to take into consideration. That's actuation or command or control. But using these internet standards to provide services for information transfer, yani analytics, application, and communication, you will have to fuel the prevalence of devices which are being enabled. Okay, now how is it going to be possible? Now we have plenty of I can say open wireless technologies that are used, that are Bluetooth. You have radio wave frequency identification, RFID. You have Wi-Fi. You have telephonic data services, which are also embedded sensors and actuator nodes. So basically, IoT has stepped out of its baby mode, or I can say infancy, and it is almost on the verge of transforming the current internet services into fully integrated future internet. Okay, so moving on, we will define what is Internet of Things. Now, what is this Internet of Things? Anyone?
It's Internet of Things that we can connect to all the things like any smart appliances to the internet. So that
Yes. Excellent, excellent. May I know your good name, please?
my name is Kiran Kumar.
Kiran Kumar. Okay. So almost all the computers and internet now are dependent on the internet, basically. Not only the computers, even us. For information, we are also dependent upon this internet. And roughly I can say there is plenty of data available, yani, of something 50 petabytes or more than that, which is available on the internet. So before, like when we consider the milestones of this IoT evolution, how are we taking it? We are taking it by typing, pressing something, recording, taking a digital picture, scanning. So, you have these, I would say, conventional diagrams of internet, which are leaving out most numerous and important routers of all people. The problem is now people have limited time and attention and accuracy, all of which means that they're not good at capturing data about things that is going around in real world. And that's a big deal, right? So we're physical, and so it's our environment about things in real world. And you can eat just bits, burn them and stay warm, or put it in your gas tank. Ideas, informations are also important. So, but things matter much more. So in today's world where you have information technology is so dependent on data, which is, originated by computers know more about ideas than things. So we have computers that knew everything that was known about things using data that we're gathering without any help from us also. And we are able to track and count everything, reduce waste, loss, and costs, right? So this Internet of Things has the potential to change the world, like just as internet did, or even more than that. So the best way to explain like how your IoT is going to work when you take a look at Internet of Things. Okay, now, like Mr. Kiran said, it's something that is going to link or connect your internet and your data, basically. Okay, so when we come to the real world scenarios with this technology, I can say that your car could maybe have some kind of engine problem. Okay, you schedule an appointment with your mechanic, let the manufacturer know about the problem in case it has happened in your engine or somewhere, even coming to your home. Now, the smart home integration that you have, it could, you can figure out anything that maybe you had a stressful day, so you just come in, switch to some soft lights. Okay, your refrigerator, it could know what groceries you have to buy. Your coffee maker could also know what time you were up, and it could turn on. So basically, these examples, I'm trying to say none of the devices is acting alone. Okay, they are basically responding to something and submitting data. The sensor that you have in your car is going to be connected to your mechanic's calendar and the manufacturer. Okay, so this means that the IoT, it also has the link to the commercial world as well, plenty. Now, when you consider IoT, you have similar devices which can track and optimize, okay, and maybe streamline and predict maintenance if required. Okay, so coming to the features of the IoT. Okay, now before that, like I told you, none of these devices are working alone. So they are collecting and sending information, receiving and acting upon it. Okay, so coming to the IoT device features, I would like to just switch here. Yeah. These are some of the features that we have with regards to connectivity, sensing, active engagements, scaling, dynamic nature, intelligence, energy, safety, and integration. Now, in case of IoT, the most important feature one can consider is connectivity. Without seamless communication among the interrelated components of the IoT ecosystem, yani sensors, computing engines, data hubs, etc., it is not possible to execute any proper case. So IoT devices can be connected over radio waves, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Li-Fi, etc. And we have some protocols of internet connectivity layers in order to um, maximize efficiency, okay, and to get the what do you say, to basically establish the connectivity across different IoT ecosystems and the industry. Of course, there will be some special cases where you have the IoT ecosystem which is built on premises or in an intranet. Okay, now coming to sensing, we as human beings can naturally understand and analyze our circumstances easily based on our past experiences with various things or situations. But in case of IoT, in order to get the best of it, we need to have the analog signal converted in such a way that we can derive meaning out of it. So for that, we have sensors, RFID, electrochemical, gyroscopes, pressure light sensors, RFID, etc., which are used to gather the data based on particular problem. Okay, for example, if we use the, what is that? Automotive use cases, we are using light detection sensors along with pressure and velocity and some imagery sensors. To make your case successful, we will have to choose the proper sensing paradigm. Okay, now coming to the active engagement, IoT is basically connecting various products. I can say cross-platform technologies, and your services are working together by establishing some kind of active engagement between them. Okay, now in general, we use this cloud computing in blockchain to have the active engagement among different IoT components. In the case of industry gate, we have IoT solutions which are raw. We will need raw and analog data. Okay, pre-process, rescale it as per your business capacity. So when coming to an example, I can say you that is that Google basically it has 50% of structured and 1% of unstructured data, which is used to make its what do you say, business decisions basically. So when you have the design, when you have to design the IoT ecosystem, you need to understand the future needs of, you know, manipulating such a huge scale of data to satisfy your incremental business needs. You can get confused with the need of active engagement with scale. Practically, it means like your system is able to handle huge data across various technologies, platforms, products, or industries. Okay, now coming to scaling, your devices should be in such a way that it can scale up or down easily on demand. And in general, IoT is being used from like, you know, almost smart home automation to automating large factories, workstations. So the use cases are varying in scale. So a carrier should be designed their IoT infrastructure depending upon its, you know, the current and as well as the future engagement scale. Now moving on to dynamic nature. The first and foremost step is to collect and convert the data in such a way that all your business decisions can be made out of it. Now, in this whole process, you will need various components of your IoT, which need to scale, or they will need to change their state dynamically, basically. Now, if you have, for example, if you take your temperature sensor, okay? Now, this temperature sensor that you have, it's going to vary continuously based on your weather conditions, okay? Maybe the location. So I mean to say that your IoT device, with regards to your temperature sensor, it should be designed in such a way by keeping all these constraints in mind with regards to temperature sensing. Okay, now for intelligence, almost all the cases that we have in IoT in today's world, the data basically it is used to make what do you say, more important business decisions. So we have to develop some kind of machine learning or deep learning models on top of this massive data that we have to have, you know, valuable insights. So where your analog signals are going to be pre-processed, okay, converted to a format on which we have machine learning modules. And we need to keep in mind the proper data infrastructure based on definitely our needs. Now moving on to energy, from the end components to the connectivity, and again back to the analytic layers, the whole ecosystem, it demands a lot of energy. So when you're designing an IoT ecosystem, we need to consider the design methodology, okay, such that you know you have your minimal energy consumption. All right, now moving on to safety, which is one of the main features of the IoT ecosystem. Okay, now in the whole design flow of your IoT ecosystem, you will have some sensitive information which is being passed from endpoints to the different analytic layer through the connectivity components. Now, when you're designing an IoT, we need to stick to proper safety, security measures, and definitely employ firewalls to keep the data away from misuse and manipulations. Now, when you compromise with any component of an IoT ecosystem, it can definitely lead to failure of the whole pipeline. Okay, so next, the last feature that we have is integration. Now, this can be integrated where like across your cross-domain models to have a better user experience. Okay, now it will also trade off between your infrastructure and your operational costs, basically. Okay, now how is this IoT presented? I mean, what's the architecture of IoT? So from this image, it is clear that it is going to have 4 layers, which are divided like you have a sensing layer, you have a network layer, then you have a data process layer, and an application layer. All right. Now, from the sensor layer, you will have like I told you before, sensors and actuators which are present in the sensing layer. And these sensors or actuators, what they will do is they will accept the data. Okay, they will accept the data from the physical environment, process the data, and it will send the data over the network. Now, what the network layer will do, you have the internet and the network gateways and your the data acquisition systems, which are again present in this layer. So it will perform the data aggregation conversion function of for example, collecting the data, aggregating the data, converting the analog data of sensors to digital data. Okay, and these advanced gateways, which mainly open up connection between sensors and internet, they perform many basic gateway functionalities, like you have your malware protection and filtering out sometimes, like with regards to decision making, which is based on the input data and data management services. All right, now then it lays out to the data processing layer, wherein this is basically your processing unit of your IoT ecosystem. Okay, In this layer, the data is going to be analyzed, pre-processed before sending it to the data center. When your data is accessed by the software applications, which are done definitely more or less some of your business application where your data is monitored and managed, okay? So in that case, your further actions can also be prepared. So here you have your that edge IT or your edge analytics which come into picture, okay? And the last layer of your IoT architecture, which is your application layer, okay? Now the data centers or cloud here is the management stage of the data, where your data is being managed and it is used by your end user application like your farming, defense, healthcare, agriculture, anything. All right. Now, the major aspect of planning in IoT technology is to determine the devices, okay? Or I can say how the devices are going to be connected and how are they going to communicate. The IoT technology stack, it connects either through gateways or built-in functionalities. Now, when I say gateways, what are these IoT gateways? What are these IoT gateways? So gateways are basically like a part of technology of IoT, okay, that can be used to connect IoT devices to the cloud. Though not all IoT devices require a gateway, they can be used to establish device-to-device communication, or you can have the connect devices that are not IP-based and can't connect to the cloud directly. So you can have the data collected from the IoT moving on through a gateway, getting pre-processed at the edge, and then it is sent to the cloud. So when you're using IoT gateways, what can happen is it can lower latency and reduce transmission sizes. So having gateways as part of your IoT protocols will let you connect devices without direct internet access, and it can provide an additional layer of security by protecting your data moving in both the directions, like sending and receiving both. Okay, now how do I connect my IoT devices to the network? The type of connectivity you utilize as part of your IoT protocol, okay, it depends on the device, its function, and its users, okay? So typically the distance that the data must travel, either short range or long range, is determined by the type of IoT connectivity needed, okay? So the type of IoT networks that I'm talking about is low power, short range networks, which are, well suited for your home, offices, and other environments, basically. They will need some small batteries and other usual inexpensive components to operate, of which I can suggest you the common example could be your Bluetooth, which is, good for high-speed data transfer. You have both voice and audio signals up to 10 meters for your Bluetooth. Then you have these Wi-Fi, the low-cost operating Wi-Fi, which is made standard across all your homes and offices. It may not be the right choice for all the scenarios, but it's limited because of its, limited range in the 24/7 energy consumption. And we have Zigbee, we have Z-Wave, we have 4G LTE, and 5G IoT, although it is much faster with your downloading speeds and connectivity and many more devices. It can connect many more devices in a given area as well. You have Sigfox, narrowband, etc. Now, how do these IoT protocols, how are these IoT devices communicating with the network? Okay, so these IoT devices, it will communicate with some IoT protocols. And what is this IoT protocols? Your Internet protocol is basically your IP is a set of rules that is going to dictate how your data is going to be sent to the internet. So your IoT protocols will ensure that the information from one device or sensor, it's read, understood by another device, processed like through a gateway, a service, with different IoT protocols have been, optimized for different scenarios, basically. Now, how will you consider what IoT protocol is going to be right for you while designing? So the type of IoT protocol that you will need will depend upon your system architecture layer in which your data is going to travel. And if I can refer to your open system interconnection, that's your OSI model, which is providing a map of various layers that you send and receive data. And each IoT protocol in this IoT system architecture is enabling device to device, device to gateway, gateway to the data center, or I can even say gateway to cloud communication, as well as communication between data centers. So your application layer, it is going to serve as the interface between the user and the device with a given IoT protocol. All right. Now, the network layer, again, it has it will help the individual devices to communicate with the router. And you have many IoT protocols which are utilizing the IPv4, while you have more recent executions with your IPv6, and the recent update to IP routes traffic across the internet and identification for your locating, the devices on the network. You have some set of communication protocols which will use what is that? Electromagnetic fields that are allowing two devices to communicate. So for 4 centimeters or each other, I think. And you have these NFC, near field communication enabled devices, which are functioning again as your key cards, your identity key cards, ID key cards, which are, used for nowadays most of your contactless mobile payments. You have smart cards, ticketing, etc., etc. All right. Now, coming to the applications of the IoT, one of the best, I can say, and the most practical application of IoT is smart homes, smart cities, smart homes. Now, this smart home, basically, it takes both convenience and security to the next level, basically. Though there are different levels in which, you have your IoT is going to be applied for smart homes. The best one is that blends intelligent utility systems and, in my case, entertainment together. For instance, you can have your electricity meter with an IoT device, which is giving you insights for every day, like for your water usage, and your set-top box that is going to allow record shows like for you from your remote, and you have automatic what is that, illumination system, light system, locking system. You have connected surveillance systems that are fitting into this concept of your smart homes. Now, as your IoT is evolving, we can be sure that most of the devices will become smarter, and it will definitely enable and enhance your home security. And with smart city, not just internet access to people in a city, but to the devices in it as well. That's what smart cities are supposed to be made of. And we can proudly say that we are going towards realizing this dream. We have efforts being made to incorporate connected technology using infrastructure requirements, and some vital concerns like we have traffic management, waste management, water distribution, And I think it has something to do with your electricity management and much more, basically. All of these work towards, reducing some day-to-day challenges which are being faced by us and bring in some added convenience possible. Okay. Now, another top application we have seen a lot of self-driven cars. Yeah, Google tried it out, or Tesla tested it, and we have even Uber coming up with a version of self-driven cars. Okay, now since most of our lives are on the roads that we're dealing, we need to ensure the technology that has all it takes to ensure better safety for the passenger and those even on the roads. So the cars are using several sensors, and we have embedded systems which are connected to the cloud, okay, and the internet to keep generating the data and sending them to cloud. So for informing decision making without machine learning, though it will take a few more years for the technology to evolve completely, and for certain countries to amend laws and policies, what we are witnessing right now is one of the best application of IoT, trust me. Now, with regards to the health, the telehealth or telemedicine, which hasn't completely flourished yet, okay, but it has some great future potential. Like you can have the telemedicine, which are including the digital communication of your medical imaging, your what is that? Remote medical diagnosis, and video consultants, like with the specialists which are being made now because of this pandemic to reduce the exposure. All right. Now, another topmost example is with regards to your smart agriculture. Now, farming is one sector that I can say has been benefited most from IoT. We have so many developments which are happening on, tools where farmer can use for agriculture. And the future I can see is sure promising. We have like many tools which are being developed for drip irrigation and for helping the farmers understanding the crop patterns, the water distribution to reduce the wastage and to manage properly the water resources. And we have drones also for farm surveillance and much more. Now, this will also help the farmers who are the food providers of any country, any nation. It will help the farmers to come up with um, more productive yield, and it will take care of their concerns also better. And definitely we have in logistics for wearables, which is, the hot topic in the market. Even today, we have devices which are, serving a wide range of purposes, ranging from medical to not medical. I think wellness and fitness will be the proper term. And we have the IoT startups which are making the wearables maker a second to none in terms of funding. And with many useful IoT examples, I can say a smart grid, basically, it's like an holistic approach or solution, basically, that is applying an extensive range of your IoT resources that can enable your existing and new grid lines if you wish to reduce the electricity waste and cost. So a future smart grid which will improve, the efficiency, reliability, and economics of electricity as well. Then we also have among the top application, which is the industrial internet, which is again consisting of your interconnected sensors, instruments, and other devices which are connected with computers. Okay, like your industrial applications. Example like manufacturing, energy management, etc. Now, while still being an unpopular comparison to IoT wearables and other uses, you have market researchers like, Gartner, Cisco, who believe that the industrial internet to have the highest overall potential. And coming to the business sector, we have the smart supply chain management. You have IoT retail shops. If you have, I don't know how many of you have witnessed this, but the video for the Amazon Go, the concept store for your e-commerce giant, you should check it out right away. Perhaps this is going to be the best use of technology in bridging the gap between an online store and a retail store. The store is going to go cashless by deducting money from your Amazon wallet, and it will add items to your cart in real time when you pick products from the shelf. So if you change your mind and pick up another article, the previous one, it gets deleted and replaces your cart with a new item. So the best part of the concept store is like there is no cashier to bill your products. You don't have to stand in line, but just step out after you pick up your products from shelves. If this technology is effective enough to fetch more patronage, then it's surely going to become a norm in the coming years as well. Like we will have it all around us. So possibly, I think it's going to be one of the measure during this pandemic. It will reduce the COVID chain as well. Yeah. And definitely the smart supply chain management, where you have the supply chains which are being stuck around in the market basically for a while now, and can provide solutions for tracking goods where they are, backed with some IoT. They are sure to stay in market for a long run. Yeah, and few more top strategies that we have for IoT, the latest trends that we talk about, which will definitely drive the digital business innovation. Yeah, we have trend number one, which is a wider choice of connectivity, in which your organizations will really have to think about what use cases they will pursue and what connectivity options will make most sense for them. Because 5G won't be the only option available to them. You will have satellite and other low power networking technologies, which are increasing by, I can say, 30% in 2022. Then coming to the next trend that we have with regards to your healthcare investment, with the coming of this COVID-19, which has brought digital and remote healthcare to the forefront, you have new technologies at the edge, and as 5G, and you have smarter hardware, which is enabling the rich data-driven health experience. You can have that. And the next trend that we discussed for IoT, the latest, which is smart building technology, which is driving employee transformation. Now, smart building technology, this will center more on core priorities like you have workers' health and safety. Okay, it will center out these priorities rather than instead of worker health and safety, rather than you can say the energy efficiency and worker productivity. All right, then trend number 4 that we're going to discuss is about the ubiquity of your connected machines. Now, your manufacturers, distributors, utility, and pharma firms, they began connecting previously with the disconnected assets, which will increase the reliance on your remote experts to address repairs without, you know, some protected downtime and expensive travel. So your field service firm and industrial firms will have to keep up with the customer demand more, okay, for connected assets and machines. Then we have trend number 5, which is consumer and employee location data, which have become core to convenience. Now, the brands, they will utilize the location to generate convenience for consumers or employees with virtual queues to, curbside pickup and check-in for reservations. They will depend on technology partners to help use location data, as well as you will have third-party source of location trusted and controlled by consumers. Then we have the next trend, which is IoT adoption, which is paving way for smart cities. Now we can expect a huge surge of resources which are deployed for smart cities in order to tackle the challenges for the changing society. And we have IoT technologies which will allow authorities and businesses to transform or to understand basically the pattern of usage to more efficiently and planning safety measures basically, and can have more emergency response strategies as well. Now, coming to the next trend, that is big data and data analytics and machine learning. IoT is partnered again with AI and ML technologies, which are helping processing vast amounts of data, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, and more quickly synthesizing it to make smart and informed recommendations based on the decisions. Now, these cloud platforms, they will help reduce the time needed for designing, installing, and inspecting, commissioning, maintenance, and reporting some of the systems. And the next trend that we have is IoT and edge computing. With the influence, or I can say with the confluence of your 5G networks, you have increase in IoT devices, a dramatic increase in the data that we are collecting. So edge computing is expected to boom. It allows like more savings in bandwidth. So it will reduce energy consumption, cost, and much more. It will offer advantages to your privacy concerns, your data stewardship, okay, and hence by, you can have, it can be a key player in privacy maintenance and helping IoT to progress according to the needs of the society, okay. The next trend is focusing on the security. Now, in the IoT technical market, we will see a renewed focus on security as complex because we have more safety challenges crop up, and highlighting the security measures they have in place will definitely help the end-to-end IoT solutions in providing or improvising the scalability. Okay, then the last trend that we're going to discuss about the small tech contributor groups will lead to IoT innovation. Now, these small groups of tech contributors will foster to your IoT innovations in the long run. You have technicians, developers, and other like-minded individuals, which will definitely put more value on technology. And this IoT platform development is going to be a major focus. Okay, now OTT as a subset of OTT. Now, before I come to OTT, the television content delivery, if you're aware of it, it is basically it is subjected to some interesting developments lately, and it's ultimately having a huge implication on the IoT. Okay, so what does it have to do with IoT? You know, your TV carriers and technologies upstarts basically are involved with multi-party face-off regarding the future of OTT, which is over-the-top television. Now, this television content distribution, set-top boxes, and basically all your TV app ecosystem. So what does this have to do with IoT, Internet of Things? Now, your OTT is basically going to be a subset of your IoT, okay? Its model and the evolution of your TV content delivery. I'm talking about TV content delivery. In general, okay, it will present the perfect archetype for your IoT growth, okay? And for the distribution model for your OTT, it has, I can say, circumvented all the barriers put up by your incumbent delivery systems. It has changed the way we consume media and substantiated the business case for a new service, providing an attractive price that resonates with the end user. Okay, now this OTT, which is over the top story, it will illustrate how to solve a number of challenges for generating a widespread IoT adoption, namely translating technological advancement into services which are proven to be both, I can say, hugely profitable for providers and extremely desirable to consumers. So it's a perfect balance. So before we move on, let's brief up a little about the history of television media. So normally back in times, you have a TV that has an antenna or two, okay? Then you have network and some stations which broadcast content for that TV, okay? You could just adjust your antenna and tune into few different channels, but the programming that was done was determined by the broadcaster. So that made us suffering through the commercial breaks was the price we all paid for limited content broadcasting at specific times only. So the networks ruled the roost, basically. Next, we have the cable or the satellite pay TV industry, which came along with a box, which is typically set on top of your TV set, which is set-top box. It will receive a cable or a signal, which is delivered on a larger selection and variety of programming on your screen. Sometimes ad-free for a normal or a nominal subscriber fee. And content-hungry consumers, they inevitably embrace this new industry. So broadcasters basically did not disappear, but they faced new and, I can say, formidable competition. The cable subscribers, they could access the ever larger swaths of programming. So the set-top box or your cast devices, they became like the mechanism by which these new reigning providers, they could distribute and control the content of your TV. Now, there is much greater selection of content available around the clock. But if you want to access your favorite shows on your non-broadcast networks, so you have to subscribe to a cable package that will include those channels, even if you don't care about 200 channels which are wedged into same package. Okay. Now we find ourselves in midst of, I can say, third TV evolution. I will call it third TV evolution, which is over the top of the set-top box. Now, this OTT content that we have, it's going to be delivered via a broadband connection to the internet, and it's opened up even more option for consumers. You have some OTT content that can be accessed through, a rented set-top box or an own gaming console with some apps, but this OTT content can also be enabled by adding another box on top of your cable provided set-top box, which basically completely bypasses any of the controls determined by your cable providers. Though it may sound a little convoluted, but this has actually become common consumption model now. You have Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, the Google's Chromecast, which are some of the good examples of your OTT. OTT bypass hardware for TVs, okay? As they are growing selection of internet-enabled televisions, okay? And your DVD players and your gaming consoles. And of course, your Netflix, YouTube, Amazon Prime. There are few successful examples of your OTT content delivery services, whether based on subscription or advertising or individual episode transactions. These OTT powerhouses are familiar to pretty much everyone. Now, consider how OTT services have, in just a short time, transformed the way we consume TV media. Sure, we still have to broadcast in cable schedules aligned to seasonal and episodic consumption, a weekly must-see. But we also have phenomena of binge watching an entire season or entire series in a single sitting. I don't know about the rest, but for me it is. So by selecting only individual episodes or streaming films for viewing on demand, this will represent like a massive shift between the consumer behavior and the success of paid services that enable our new user customized consumption model, hence basically an even more better opportunity. So these content organizations and discovery mechanisms are like one area ripe for further development. But broadening the parameters to the services extending beyond your media content is where IoT can really spread its wings. You got my point. Now, why not you can have your home security system and smart home locks and alarms coordinated through your app on your OTT box. You really can have your home security system, your smart home locks, and some alarms that are connect there. It can be coordinated through an app in your OTT box with some interface viewable on your TV screen. Why not use your TV remote to turn off all the lights in your house and launch The Walking Dead on your screen at the same time? So Amazon's recent announcement about incorporating its Alexa voice assistant functionality in its OTT Fire hardware, it is basically showing that the notion of ordering a pizza through the TV while you're watching, it has crossed others' minds as well. So every step in the evolution of TV content delivery technology has brought like a greater choice to the user. First, with regards to its content selection, and now with regard to how we engage that content. All right. Now, this OTT box that I'm talking about, it has become the location of the real empowerment for consumers. You can have your Xbox, you can have your Roku, Fire, or launch whatever media you want. Must match the same way you launch apps on a desktop. Okay, this is the part of OTT model that really speaks to the IoT experience because it breaks the shackles that tie us to our old way of doing things. When I'm saying that, it means every iteration, it enriches the experience for the user and expands the possibility of different services. Which is not to say it's all sunshine and roses around the subject, but the whole reason OTT has been in the news recently is because hardware and content providers, regulators, and other interested parties have competing interests in this arena, and all are just jostling to best positioning themselves. Regardless of who comes out on top in these battles, the user is still going to win. Because of the technological advancements consistently providing user more choice in programming and content as well as the use cases. So each evolution is going to empower the consumer a little more with, the increasingly target and personalized connected TV services. So OTT evolution has incorporated the other older models of TV content delivery and moved them forward by bringing out or by providing a richer experience. You have the average consumers, which are demonstrating a willingness to adopt and purchase services enabled by this evolution with enthusiasm that is unmatched in any IoT sector. So all IoT agenda networks contributors are responsible for the content and accuracy of their posts. Now, how can we build an OTT infrastructure? What actually happens when you press play? Yes. See, nowadays in this digital world, which is moved by the content, and more people are willing to pay for OTT and consume a video, it also means that the consumers are demanding and expecting a higher digital experience. So the success of the digital OTT video platform, it will reflect in a way that your OTT infrastructure is built. The goal is to diversify content and monetize it smartly. For example, you have subscriptions that purpose to, subscription proposals like partnership with Amazon or distribution. It is essential to have the right infrastructure to ensure that you control the destination of your content. Now, you have 4 challenges of building an OTT infrastructure. The first one, making content compatible with all devices. Okay. Now, in the early years, you have this IPTV service provider, which is facing limited device compatibility issues. So they streamed content to a proprietary set-top box, which is installed in each consumer's home. One media format, one playback device, problem solved. But with the development of OTT and multi-screen TV, content distribution networks are required to deliver multiple versions of the same piece to be compatible with a wide variety of devices. Your set-top box, connected TVs, laptops, smartphones, game consoles, etc. Each has its own media format. Not only format, but also video resolution and your DRM provisions as well. So this is why the content producers or distribution networks, they will need to select a packager and origin service that will be able to generate the on fly all the required media streams for all devices from every piece of original video content which is being made available to viewers And they will also need to regularly update the package to keep track and maintain total compatibility. Like it should be maintaining the total compatibility with the new formats that are available, right? The next challenge is to address storage issues. Now, storage is a central concern for all OTT operators. And thankfully, a number of technologies that are available to streamline and optimize the storage of literally millions of hours in content. So the most interesting thing is just-in-time packaging. When a viewer submits a request for a given media file, this feature lets the origin server package a relevant version on the fly to the match. It's basically matching the user's playback device, and it will eliminate the need to produce copies for all playback devices beforehand. So this will free up storage infrastructure, but corresponding to the cache technology, maintaining copies of the most requested files on servers which are close to large concentrations of users. So to keep bandwidth usage under control, basically. The system automatically strikes the right balance between storage, bandwidth, and efficiency. So the experience shows that it usually caches files for no more than a few minutes, even for the most popular content. Okay, now the third challenge is offering best-in-class quality of experience. Now, quality of experience, it goes beyond serving the relevant video resolution and DRM scheme to user devices. Okay, it will include managing. We have multilingual content, yeah, so as well as subtitles, even sometimes in the what is that? Even in the non-Latin alphabet sometimes. So the legal concerns could be relevant in every region where the service is to be deployed. So as an example, I can tell you that the content which is distributed to Florida must allow messages to interrupt the video in case of a hurricane alert or something like that. So the OTT operators building their distribution infrastructures will therefore need to select the relevant technologies that provide for all these aspects. Right now, the fourth challenge, the last challenge, is giving a sense of scale. Now, scalability is one of the most crucial considerations in developing a robust OTT infrastructure, basically. Now, indeed, we have TV content distributed over IPTV networks today, but it requires one individual stream for every single viewer. Now, this even applies with when you have users watching the same program, when you have millions of homes watching a live sports event, millions of streams still need to be sent over network. Now, operator will therefore need to disseminate cache resources across their networks to make sure files and, live streams are available close to where a large number of viewers are located, and also define the CDN, which is the content delivery network. This part of this infrastructure is where content availability and latency issues will rise. So you will have resources which are insufficient to match the number of viewers. That is why the relevant network capacity planning feature should be built into the CDN, which will definitely help the user to monitor data traffic, network traffic, and it can plan any required capacity increase ahead of time. So overall, the players in the emerging OTT arena will need to select proven infrastructure components that come with adequate tools and technologies to find the right balance between operational cost efficiency in one hand and network effectiveness and customer satisfaction in the other. So in other words, I can say that the technologies that will help them reach the sweet spot of your OTT distribution. Right. Now, coming to the trends in OTT, the latest trends. Now, there has been a rise in consumption of the OTT viewership over the past years because of the pandemic, And let's look at 6 current trends that we have, which are likely to shape the future of OTT. Now, like I mentioned, the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent lockdowns that has led to the unprecedented surge in demand of OTT entertainment in almost every country, which is basically the accelerating trend in any country. So with multiplexes and cinema screen shuts, OTT platforms have seized the opportunity to expand delivery of entertainment directly to customers' screens right in their homes. So the best part of this development is that the cinema screens remaining out of bounds for a prolonged period, and the viewers have also become addicted to the OTT video streaming. That is unlikely to change soon, and the OTT platforms will definitely continue to be the first choice for a public that is craving entertainment at the click of a button. So coming to the 6 trends that I'm talking about, which have shaped the future of the OTT. The first one I would like to discuss about is the content tailored to the audience. Okay, so where you have OTT platforms that are, having service specific being managed to find audiences, and even international video streaming platforms are discovering the importance of serving the market for the localized content. So, as per the industry experts and analysts, we have already the command and share of 40 to 45% of overall OTT pie in terms of consumption. Then the next, basically, it has been reported that by 2025 or 26, you will have the regional language consumption on OTT platform, on all OTT platforms, that is going to cross like around 50% of the aggregate market that you have. And that goes to show that there's a high potential for it in future. Yeah. And the next trend that I would like to discuss is with regards to the internet-based service. For example, your hobbies, sports, lifestyles, OTT TV is being facilitating it has basically facilitated the democratization of basically making TV quality content available to small audiences. So when this technology and delivery costs have come down, the distribution is not weighed down, even by space limitation of TV channels. More and more target services are increasing, basically emerging. So this trend is not restricted to hobby or communities, but is increasingly extending its enterprising by seeking to engage with their own staff and customers. Then the next trend, user will have the core experience. Like when a viewer is streaming platform that basically has an easy and a user-friendly navigation. The success for any OTT platform it will not depend only upon the content, but also equally on the user experience, right? So there are always a preference for an interface that's not cluttered or complicated and enables the user to access the desired content with ease. Then the next trend with regards to the accelerated innovation in OTT monetization. Now, the digital platforms are learning increasingly towards the collaborative subscription. Okay, so you have packaging in comparison to a standalone subscription model for monetization purpose, and the bundling or these collaborative subscription packages, what they do together, they create channels in a recent phenomena that has and will continue to grow tremendously. So this over the top, it refers now to the media description or the media distribution over the internet. So you have IP networks distributing more and more media today. And in fact, some industry leaders, they advocate that we stop differentiating between OTT and broadcast TV entirely. We are currently facing a future in which all TV is distributed via OTT. Okay, now the coming trends in 2022. So we're looking on the rise of 5G. That means for video, major players entering in streaming solutions. So OTT will continue to grow, cut the cord on the cable, and definitely 5G is the changing game because 5G internet has started to become standard, especially in the urban areas. And the next generation cellular network technology, which is, providing much faster, more reliable internet speed. So you have 5G, which is 100 times faster than the available, and definitely much more than your other LTE networks. And also the immersive streaming technology, which is becoming accessible with the latest OTT trends. Like when you have to stream 4K video, which takes up like around 30 Mbps of your internet bandwidth. So for live video streaming, you should have at least double that bandwidth available, and that's not very common for consumer grade internet connections. However, you have the rise of 5G, which will enable an explosion in some streaming video quality by making 4K streaming solutions also possible. So the extra video bandwidth will make it possible to stream 4K video, and we can also expect 4K and virtual reality streaming to be defining features of the next 1 to 2 years with 360-degree streaming, which will also become more possible with these coming new network connections. So overall, the streaming experience will be getting much more immersive very soon. All right. Now, these trends are likely to grow as technology is becoming more accessible. And I think Disney Plus app, which is now downloaded like 3.2 million times in the first 24 hours, I think that it was available. And also there was an OTT streaming service from Apple TV and your AT&T and Comcast. For sports also we have the streaming services for sports, and these are competing with the established giants basically now. So that's exactly the way the new competition will play out depending upon local market details. For example, if I take India, Disney Plus is competing with Netflix, but not with Amazon Prime and other services, which are aimed at, more broader mass market. So these services and OTT trends rising they're entering the mainstream in a way that, you know, which has been never seen before. In fact, I can say that this OTT advertising is becoming more and more important in the online ad space as well. So you have these advertising revenues, which are again seeing a steep increase. As more and more people are beginning to use these services because the subscription fatigue encourages innovation in OTT monetization. You can have some estimates, more than a third of professional broadcasters which are monetizing their content via subscription needs, basically. So 60% of people are sick of, many streaming devices. So more than a fifth don't know much of anything about the upcoming services. So we have fast become to a point of excessive options again in the OTT space, being global as well as local. And the providers are again increasingly turning to something called pay-per-view and advertising monetization as alternatives, like for subscription monetization. And this COVID-19 growth, again, it proves sustainable for the OTT industry because it has seen a rapid spike in consumption for the people who are staying at home and working from home. And within a few weeks, when this pandemic hit, Disney Plus was the service that was available to accommodate, subscribers by releasing movies on the platform early. Now, I don't know if many listeners here noted it, but there was one movie which was released on this platform, which was Frozen 2. The idea was that the parents were starting to work from home and they will not have their normal childcare. So the release of this and other children-friendly movies would buy parents some time. There were several OTT streaming series, including the Netflix originals, that definitely got the attention and viewership. And of course, the connected TV, which again, it's more popular now. And again, like I told you, the user experience, it becomes a key. If you compare Netflix with the other platforms, so you can easily navigate and it's pleasing to the eye. Selection of content is quite expansive. Yeah, they have more phenomenal range of movies and series. So there could be a quick comparison when you need to give a good idea of what users value. And now this OTT content also is fragmenting, and this is one of the major OTT trend which can be considered in 2021 and 2022, because the content fragmentation that I'm talking about is a strategy that broadcasters and other content creators are using to target, audiences in hopes of maximizing the success. So the idea is that if the content is carefully curated and strategically set up for delivery, it will have a better chance of landing with the intended viewers. So creators who are catering towards a mindful audience would definitely have to work the content distribution via something that is opposing to other popular streaming services. And the broadcasters as well as the creators who produce will definitely fall into this. And another thing with the content fragmentation, we also have the online audio streaming, which is becoming more and more popular. We are on the brink of a major shift in the way people consume audio content, which includes talk shows, music. Up until the recent years, we had audio streaming, which was done by, can anybody tell me? I think it was terrestrial or some satellite radio. Now, these audio media distributions are still going on, but OTT audio streaming is on the rise. We have a number of people which are listening to the audio content, which is live and podcasts over the internet on their smartphones, basically. other digital devices also. So there is a rapid increase, and it is also predicted that the global music streaming industry will grow by a compound annual growth rate like around 17% to 20% between now and 2027. That's how many years from now? 6 or 7. Now, to conclude, we have, when it comes to the current OTT trends, the industry is finally getting close to a stage of, maturity. We are seeing rise of some exciting technologies which are working along with the consolidation and smoothing out of others. We're seeing rise in different technologies which have the potential to shake things up further. And additionally, the streaming technology industry is also facing some new challenges. It will be interesting to see the updates and the unprecedented shifts over the past year, definitely. Because by 2025, it is estimated that there will be more than 21 billion IoT devices. Because when you just quickly look back, it will show you where the IoT devices are going. You will have I think it's in 2016, where there were around 5 billion things connected to the internet, according to the IoT analytics. Now, fast forward to 2021, the market will nearly increase to 12 billion IoT devices. Now, with that, it definitely brings us to another question. IoT security and privacy concerns. This will definitely drive legislation and regulatory activities, because the increase in IoT devices is just one reason security and privacy concerns are rising. You have IoT-based attacks which will take on more dangerous forms. You have 5G arrival, which will open the door to new privacy and security concerns. Cars are getting smarter. Artificial intelligence will continue to become a bigger thing. More cities will become smart. 5G networks will continue to fuel IoT growth. You will have routers which is continuing to become more secure, more smarter, and you will have cyber criminals who will continue to use IoT devices to facilitate some attacks. So basically, because most of the consumer IoT devices which are residing in the home and can't have security softwares installed on them, they can be vulnerable to attacks. Why? Because a lot of manufacturers, they work to get their IoT product to market quickly. So security may be an afterthought. This is where the home router plays a very important role. The router is essentially the entry point of the internet in your home, yeah? So when many of your connected devices cannot be protected, the router has the ability to provide protection at the entry point. A conventional router will provide some security, such as password protection, firewalls, and the ability to configure them to only allow certain devices on your networks. Now, these router makers will likely continue to seek new ways to boost security, hopefully, inshallah, in future. And like I told you, more cities are going to become smarter. Consumers won't be the only one using IoT devices. Cities, companies will increase, they will start adopting smart technologies to save time. That means cities will be able to automate, remotely manage, and collect data through things like visitor kiosks. You have video camera surveillance systems, bike rental stations, taxis, etc. Everything. And of course, even the cars will start getting smarter when with the you can say with 5G, we'll shift into auto industry to a higher gear. The development of the driverless cars, Tesla, as well as the connected vehicles which are already on the road will benefit from the data from which moving faster. So you may not think of your car as an Internet Think device, but new cars will increasingly analyze your data and connect with other IoT devices, including your high-tech vehicles on four wheels. Okay, so with this, I would like to conclude. The IoT is offering endless opportunities for the technical side as well as good opportunity for business. The technology has already evolved and is changing with different landscapes as well. So competition in the next decade will largely be defined by how the companies leverage from innovative technologies. And definitely IoT will be the foremost technology that is expected to determine the fate of many businesses that are evolving. So with this, I would like to conclude my delivery for the latest trends in IoT and OTT. If you have any queries, you may ask, you may shoot your questions. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay.
Yeah, I request the participants to ask a few questions or the doubts. Ma'am, can you advise some of the startups related to the IoT technology, which are existing or which can be possible to guide the students?
Mm-hmm. See, basically, how do I start up or how do I start with an IoT model? You mean to say that, yeah?
Yes, ma'am, correct.
Okay. So due to your research, first you will have to research the market opportunity with your due diligence and learn about your niche as much as possible. Then go all in at once by keeping track of your progress, because you have tech startups and who have established enterprises like linking devices to operate together, which is making it user friendly. So connecting every machine with the internet is what IoT stands for. So you can unlock the power of your IoT assets with most of your uh, cost effective satellite IoT connectivity. So that is what I told you. You will first have to research the idea on what you want to build your IoT. And then you have many platforms which are, a set of components like will allow the developer to spread out your applications remotely by collecting your data, securing your connectivity, and then executing your sensor management basically.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
And you can manage the connectivity of the devices and by allowing to build new what do you say, mobile software applications basically.
Yes, ma'am. Is there any built-in applications or a kind of a projects will you suggest in the aspects of security, ma'am?
In the aspects of security
Correct.
for IoT
Yes, 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 ma'am.
or for OTT.
Oh,
I think in Oman, I'm not sure about India, but in Oman we have this nebula, which integrates the artificial intelligence. It's basically from the data park, which will, you know, locally host the high performance. Okay, and it will definitely help the local hosted infrastructure in providing some enhanced security by giving the access to the business and government entities with some exceptional value. So you have much more parallel computing. I'm not sure about India, but in Oman, we have this Nebula package, which is coming with, which is basically giving you some kind of security provided by your, it's basically monitoring operation center, and it can give you the data analysis, like, which can help to transform into your business, whatever it is, with regards to your artificial intelligence to become more intelligent enterprise, from ideation and to industrialization as well. So that's how, you know, augmented reality in artificial intelligence as well, it's changing all rules of how it's operating. So
Yes, ma'am. Yes, correct, ma'am. Yeah, you're true, ma'am. Like in terms of the business model, that architectures and the design aspects will be changing
yeah.
according to the need and scalability. It is always varies. Yes.
Yeah, and it has many features, you know, like for banking and finance, especially where, you know, you have the every transaction will have to quantify security model, for in case of healthcare, in case of different logistics, for prices, retailing, energy, everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where you can keep up the pace of data.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, will you suggest some of the IoT platform? For example, for simple sensing and monitoring purpose, we use a ThinkSpeak platform.
Mhm.
For paid versions or any kind of prototype developments, we then move to the AWS cloud. Kind of
Mhm.
such any other platforms will you advise?
Mm, for IoT with, you know, different strategies with different regions of the world.
Yes, correct, ma'am. True, you're right.
Yeah. So yeah, you can choose your provider depending upon the region.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah. Any, that's all from my side, ma'am. Thank you very much. I
No worries.
request any other participant would like to interact with ma'am.
Yeah, madam. As you said, these IoT devices are spreading very fastly around the world. So, so we are dealing with these many devices. So security, it will play a major challenge in this IoT device.
Yeah. It is
So
going to be a major challenge.
how we can deal with it and kind of techniques or how we can overcome nowadays how they are doing in this security perspective.
See, with IoT being introduced again, you know, you will have strain of malicious softwares that can infect the connected devices. Like you can have your security cameras, your DVRs, much more. So these malware which are accessing the devices, you can set up some default passwords and definitely different firewall rubrics by different usernames. So sometimes what happens next is your malware will turn the affected devices into like a botnet to facilitate denial of service attack, which will aim to, you know, overwhelm websites with different internet traffic. So the attack will um end up flooding one of the most largest website hosting companies in the world, which will bring like a variety of major well-known sites or website services for, it can be open sourced, which means like the code is available to anyone to modify. So how can the security concern add up? So you can have more cybersecurity encryption, which will have some algorithms built in some firewalls, okay? And that way you can customize your algorithm to safeguard your data, which is in transit, by, some security gateways. For example, for your office LANs, site-to-site VPNs, you can have some gateways which can be deployed that can help you increase. I do not claim that it will be 100%, but to an extent it can. But for IoT, this security challenge, it can be considered as a big opportunity for development.
Okay, thank you.
Thanking you very much, ma'am. It's really some like a wonderful session and clear and clean explanation about the benefits of IoT with what the smart devices and how do we go with the customer centric achievements to build any kind of a prototype or something, and how will it go with the operational costs and the data, and what are the important aspects of the enhanced aspects of the security measures and all towards the IoT technology. It's really some like a wonderful session. In chat window also we see some of the messages like it's very nice, full nice session and very useful session. Thanking you very much for accepting our invitation and delivered
Welcome, Ms.
session.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Ms. Krishna. Thank you so much. For me also, it's indeed a very nice opportunity where I could share um, my knowledge with the students who are listening here actively.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my dear.
The feedback link is posted in the WhatsApp group for the participants. Thanking you for joining. Thank you.
Welcome. Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, ma'am. We'll see you soon.
Bye.